Markovic on Pavlich as well, so Lake will go to Kepler-Bradley.
So it's Griffin and Minson in the ruck to get it underway. Perfect bounce. Flick down from Will Minson. De Boer to Mundy. Still tight in the congestion.
Stephen Hill played 78 of a possible 81 games. He's missed the last 2 with an ankle and got rested for a game down in Tassie when they rested 7 going into the finals.
I read that article this morning, Roo, and not only that, but as a junior, he never missed a game of football. He's had the best run ever.
And that's probably one of the reasons why he went pick 3 behind Watts and Nat Nui, very high in that draft. Easton Wood hammers it to half forward. Cordy attacks it. Dalhouse crumbs it. Ibbotson wrapped him up. Flick back to Boer, Johnson, Roberton, and now Pearce.
Geez, Hayden Ballantyne, Roo, I'm not sure what gets into his mind early. He's only a midget. Go the ball. You don't have to go the man.
That was unnecessary, and he's probably lucky he didn't connect.
Pavlich comes hard and takes the mark. He's been in hot form, Matthew Pavlich.
Yeah, he's been great, Pav. Looks really good when he plays deep.
Main to Mundy.
Just too easy for Mundy just to cruise up there. Big Will Minson needs to get a bit energised.
Crowley's got Griffin at full back at the moment, so good effort by Crowley to take him out of the play. Doesn't mind kicking the goal, Crowley.
Main sits it up, but it's a little wide. Hill thought about the big jump from 4 deep, and Picken was content to take it out.
Let's take a look at Hayden Ballantyne, his first effort at the ball. Now, he could have put his body in between him, between his man and the ball, and I'm not sure what goes through his mind, but football is where he does his damage.
Brian Lake caught high. I did speak to Hayden Ballantyne in the race before the game, Jared, about an hour ago, and asked him to give us something, and he said to me, I'll give you something if you don't bag me. Johnson back inside 50 to Lake, and he takes the defensive mark. So he's certainly given us something early. Austin. Dalhouse. Been out of form, Luke Dalhouse. Just 1 goal, 6 in total for the past 5 games, and all the way back to fullback to get a possession. Back to Markovic.
Be dangerous trying to chip this around in your defensive 50 with windy conditions. Only a matter of time before you turn it over.
Mazungu with the fist. Takes it to the line, and maybe that was the out they wanted. Get it outside 50 and reset with the ball in.
So Gilby has started back, Jared, back there trying to use his good skills from half-back.
Minson back into that ruck contest and flicked it down, but to De Boer. Couldn't find the target. Minson getting down and dirty. Dalhouse. Wallace back into the lineup this week, and he finds Higgins.
Good stuff from Dalhouse. In and then very quickly out, and nice quick disposal as well from Wallace.
Clay Smith has it on the wing.
Gee, they're really chipping it around. I guess they're conscious of Freo's loose man behind play, but going to require good skills. And there you go.
And good way to get the first gamer, his first touch in AFL football. Cameron Sutcliffe to half forward. Ballantyne flicks it out. Main, he could have gone for goal. He puts it in front of Pavlich to run onto it. He's got 2 to beat after it bounces. He's being corralled, Austin and Markovic, and he gives it back to Main. Splendid.
Well, this is going to take a really big kick. He's kicked 14 straight this year, Chris Main, from set shots, but looks like he might have caught one when he took that mark. I think he might pass this one off.
His last 7 shots in a row have been goals, but this is a tough shot. It'll come from just outside 50. Still looking around. Close to the man on the mark, gets plenty on it. And the breeze plays with it, and there's a rare behind.
He probably rushed it a bit there, Main. He was uncomfortable. He did definitely cop one as we have a look here. Oh, not sure really what happened there, but might have been his landing, but wasn't a good routine shot on goal.
Picken with the quick kick in, and he goes central to Higgins, cut off.
Good pressure by the Dockers, and the point you made, Rue, about chipping the ball out of defence. Looks like it could be a weakness. They're up and about here, the Dockers, in their defensive approach in the forward half.
About 25 players around this ball at the moment. It's a crazy scramble in there. Just outside attacking 50 for the Dockers. The umpire forced to sort it out.
And it'd be just nice if he got the ball and threw it straight up in the air. And done it about 15 seconds ago.
10 more years, Gerard, and they'll only bounce it at the start of quarters and after goals, and around the ground it'll probably be tossed in the air because of the delay it takes to bounce. Allows this congestion to happen quite often. Players can get to the contest.
Yeah, I think you're right, particularly later in the game, and even there you see the wind getting hold of the ball and a free kick.
Yep. Push out for Griffin.
Jonathan Griffin has been in the press this week. He's out of contract and maybe thinking of a third AFL club. Heads toward Bradley and just dropping in front. Crowley took the mark. It wasn't really intended for him.
I said before, he can go forward and kick goals. I think he's kicked 9 already this year, and so a good move if he can get Ryan Griffin to follow him into the forward 50, because he's good overhead and he's got a beautiful kick.
Ryan Griffin just looked a little bit lost in that contest, as if he lost his man. We'll take a look at it after he kicks whatever score comes through.
Was kicking at 66% this year at goal, but that wind did play with that as well.
Yeah, it moved it left to right, so maybe they can go to school on that one and start aiming a bit more left of goal. Gilby gets the honour of kicking in. He's done that over the years.
Back into the team this week. His first game for 2012 on his 31st birthday.
Big zone set by the Fremantle Dockers. Gives Gilby a chance to kick it out.
If it stays in, and he kicked it out all right. He kicked it out on the full. Called to go. McPhee in the end had to go. Goes to the pocket. Main might jump. Bradley almost did his way, and Boyd slaps it to the line.
Well, if you've just joined the coverage, the Bulldogs are still trying to work it into their forward half. They have spent the last 7 minutes trying to get the ball from defence. The good news, though, is that the Dockers, for Bulldog supporters, fans, the Dockers have not been able to slide one through yet.
Flicked down by Campbell. Couldn't break free with it. Big Tom jumps in. Lake there.
85% it's been, Dwayne.
In their forward half.
Yep.
Hacked clear by Liberatore to the middle, and finally they get it in their half at least, but it might be temporary. McFarlane heads wide. Johnson, their #1 possession getter this year, takes off from defence and gets another possession. Short, lower, hands it off quickly. Broughton pumps it inside 50, hoping for Pavlich, but the Dogs with the numbers at Lake.
Well, they're going to have to get smarter here, the Dockers. Clearly, the Bulldogs are just trying to hold. They're in a holding pattern. They've got 2 extra players in defence, and long bombs to Pavlich, 1 against 3, just isn't going to cut it. They need to run the ball through and kick it over the top.
Picking at full back.
Out the full.
Yeah, the wind really playing havoc. You mentioned it earlier, Ruin. You'd think they'd go to school on a lot of these kicks and change their style, these players.
Well, they don't really look like they know what they want to do, and Freo should take advantage of this and really press up and cause some turnovers inside their forward 50.
I must admit, I'm a bit confused, though. When we had a look at the shot at goal, it went left to right, and that one went right to left. So it's clearly swirling down there, and must be very difficult. They're going to have to kick it lower and punch it.
Ibbotson kicks in the Pavlich direction. Kepler-Bradley got hands on it. Jakira Crumbs to cross. Gilby, Wood, Pickin, but going backwards here. You'd think the Dogs were going that way. All the way back to full back. Campbell heads wide. And he put Sherman under immense pressure. Hip and shoulder from Cordy, but Mzungu rode it okay. And Grover, another back into the lineup this week. First game under Ross Lyon, first game for 2012 for Anthony Grover.
And Sean Higgins has just come off. He's looks like got a dislocated finger, so he's on the bench at the minute. Been off for a considerable amount of time.
Well, right now, Brendan McCartney would be relatively happy. He's got some competition out there. Everybody's working really hard. It's not pretty. They're not getting hurt on the scoreboard. However, they are kicking with a pretty sizable wind advantage.
Johnson played on quickly to lower, had to mop up his own mess. Pokes it to half forward, and it's untidy at the moment. Lake took on the tacklers to Griffin. Pickin, umpire in the way. Howard to Campbell, who's getting a bit of it. Big Tom, the big dog. And another big dog, Will Minson. Smith got it from Cross. Liberatore.
This is the kick they need to find a target. They've been terrible going forward.
Yeah, the first inside 50, not a good one. Straight down Johnson's throat.
Well, Michael Johnson's been great all year. He's loose again today, and if you just do that, you're just playing exactly into Ross Lyon's hands.
Yeah, young Libba's got to be smarter than that. I mean, plenty of time to assess. He's a good player, but he's got to make better decisions.
Had a great month, hasn't he, Libba?
Kepler. McFarlane. Back to Bradley.
Yeah, I think the crowd will fire up pretty quickly if they keep chipping it around like this.
Well, they've been quiet so far. They've had nothing to cheer whatsoever. Minson and Griffin. Campbell. Wallace rolls it. Jakira puts it wide. Cordy's there. He's got a couple to beat, though. One of them, Bradley, who slaps it to the line. But finally, they get a reset opportunity with the ball in forward pocket, the Dogs. They can steal the lead here and now.
Just noticed one of the Fremantle Dockers medicos, maybe a physio or doctor, out with a purple top on. Made it look like they had 3 defenders rather than 2.
Smith just let that go. Tackled Ibbotson, didn't have it.
Oh.
So 2 mistakes in one.
Could have been a goal easy, couldn't it, Dwayne, if he just took that ball cleanly, but...
Could have been a free kick the other way as well. He had disposal, just dropped out of his hands.
Gee, that wind's playing tricks with the ball. Another out in the full. Here's the take. Just got a bad bounce there, the young fella.
He hasn't come in yet. Now he has to play on.
You heard the call from the umpire. So Sherman, depending on what this wind is doing, almost within range. Doesn't like his chances. Went for Smith, missed him. Pearce. Ballantyne to half back. To Pavlich in the middle of the ground. Big ball to win this. Open spaces for Fremantle if they win it. Cross. Gives it wide. Sherman high. Hot spot. Good spot. Hits the deck. Smith comes hard, but he's wrapped up. Johnson mops it up.
Good running here from Hill. He's got nowhere to go, though.
Did well. Held a ball.
Good
That's
tackle.
got to be ball. He dropped it as he was tackled, and again the umpire allows that throw. De Boer.
It's one of the blights on the game at the moment. Just incorrect disposal being allowed to be paid.
Pavlich to Pearce to Main, running back with a flight. Lake.
He's going to have a field day. If he's allowed just to float around there by himself, he reads the ball as well as anybody.
Well, he's already had 3 marks.
And he's the number 1 mark player in the competition this year. That's almost a turnover to Lake. He didn't get a chance to mark that. Broughton cut it off to Pavlich, and now it opens up for them. Bounces to Main, inside to Pavlich. Should go from there. Finally, we get a team on the board.
Well, that was their 9th inside 50, and they needed the goal because they really have dominated the first quarter, but they haven't been able to penetrate. We said Lake's been doing a good job in the air, but finally they got through and got the goal that they much deserved.
Well, it was a disappointment result there for the Bulldogs because that kick was, I think it was Lindsay Gilby kicking the ball across the ground. Like it was a 20-metre kick, and it's missed by 5 metres. You can see Gilby shaking his head.
29 goals, 14 this year for Matthew Pavlich.
The goal coming on the back of an errant kick, but also on the back of 2 or 3 consecutive handballs, and I think that's the way that the Dockers will get through the defence that they've set up best.
De Boer, high, Lake, Pavlich in a 2-on-1, and Markovic takes it this time.
Once again, the long kick in Roo being easily chopped off by the extra numbers.
Wallace.
Now, it's easy for the field umpires to tell how far they've kicked it. As our viewers can see, there are distinct lines on the ground, the mowing lines. They're each 10 metres long or 10 metres wide.
Robertson.
It looks like it's going to be a chip kick game. Let's hope they're diligent on the 15 metres. Now, that's gone about 8. Well done, umpire.
Okay, so Barlow called to go. Robertson bumped out of it. Picked up by Mundy. Grover. Pearce. They peel wide. Broughton. Ballantyne on the move. He's got 2 to beat now. He jumps and makes a good contest out of play. A win there, 1 against 2.
Hard work for Hayden Ballantyne there, 1 against 2. And it's not his problem, it's the guys up the ground. They've got to get smarter.
Another massive pack around this ball in. 20-odd players around it. Knocked down to Pearce, Bradley, McPhee, Pavlich. He got there and he was mauled. Should have got a free. Crowd realise it. Umpire lets the Dogs get away with it. Lake flicks it over the top. Griffin.
That is great. Well done, Main.
Tory Dixon. Cross.
Good work by the Dogs, though. This is the one chance they've got, the fast break goal. But you've got to go. You can't stop. Nice work from Johnson.
And now the Dockers have the players on the rebound. Johnson, Pavlich, lower. Mundy, open spaces ahead. Puts it in Ballantyne's direction. Got the skates on and got there. Eastonwood got there at the same time. Christian Howard from half back. Now the open space for the Dogs on their half forward line. Higgins. Almost a turnover. Smith off the fingernails.
Should have done better there, Michael Johnson. He had that one.
Boyd. Coming off a 34 possession game last week against Essendon, also been in good form. In fact, 10 more possessions than any other player for the Dogs last week. He was one of their shining lights. Liberatore, Wallace.
Just have to question how long these kicks are, Dwayne. I mean, that one has gone the barest of 12 metres.
Minson. Good, solid hands. And it can give the Dogs their first goal of the afternoon.
Yeah, they're working hard to try and get a mark inside 50, but Will Minson there up against Kepler Bradley just too strong. And it would have been hoping that Michael Johnson was somewhere near there to come across and take the mark, but too strong, Big Will, and can kick a goal.
All about the breeze as well. Throw some grass in the air to get some indication, but what it's doing around him might be different to what it's doing at post level. Strikes it well and can't sneak it in post.
But it was a genuine shot at goal, and they worked hard to get it forward. The Bulldogs, they're up and about at this stage, and they just need one to get themselves some reward on the scoreboard.
Barlow, almost an elimination final for the Western Bulldogs this afternoon. They lose this and they'll be 5 and 9. Can't make the 8 from there, but they win this, they can at least give themselves some hypothetical, some mathematical hope of making a late season run, putting some pressure on some teams above them, because they play most of the teams 1, 2, 3, 4 rungs above them in the run home. Lower.
A bit kind there, aren't you, Dwayne?
Well, you have a look at the teams they play. They do play 3 of the teams just above them on the ladder. Ballantyne pushed out of it, wins a free. They're only 1 win behind Fremantle.
Yeah, they have a very tough run home.
They do.
Look dangerous there, Hayden Ballantyne. He's basically leading out as a small full forward and led hard at the ball and drew a free kick. Eastonwood had him covered. He dropped the ball, then he got the free kick.
Where are you going to aim here, Jared?
Well, I'd be going on the last shot, and that'd be left goal post.
Opens up the angle a little, starts it right, and it was all wrong. Hits the behind post out on the full.
Yeah, just trying to exact a little bit more distance, and got his technique all out of skew if.
Over the head of Dalhouse. It works. He runs onto it. Very wide. Campbell and McFarlane both there. Ball in.
Michael Johnson already had the 10 disposals for Fremantle. De Boer 7 and Pavlich 6. And for the Bulldogs, Wallace started well with 8. Lakes had 7. Picken and Gilby 5.
About to tick into time on opening term. Low scoring encounter, as you can see. McPhee, Griffin.
Pav off the bench.
Barlow, yes, he's just off the bench. If Barlow can hit him, he missed him.
Horrible kick.
Gilby could have gone for goal. Flicks it over. Higgins needs to nail it from there. Magnificent kick. And in the blink of an eye, the Dogs are back in it.
Yeah, it was Barlow who tried to pass the ball across the ground, and Lindsay Gilby was the one who intercepted it. He read it, he saw, he wanted to kick across the ground. You see Gilby come in from the right of screen there. Did it really well. Smart handball. and Higgins a good finish. So some good experience play there by the Western Bulldogs. Barlow, if there is a knock on his game, it is that he can turn the ball over with his disposal. So a good goal from a turnover there by the Dogs.
Don't bump him in. Ryan.
Does have it all, Shaun Higgins. He's yet to have that breakout Patrick Dangerfield kind of season. But hopefully it's not that far away. Consistent form, injury-free form for Shaun Higgins. Still only 24 years of age. 11 in the draft. So they have invested a lot in him.
Just a question, Jacko, about what sort of advantage do you think the Western Bulldogs have with this wind, or is it just swirling around?
It is swirling around, but it is favouring left of screen, which is a City end goal. So it's just a matter of being patient with the ball and hitting up their targets. They have been a little bit reckless with their kicking going there 450.
Hill, a slick to De Boer to Main. No arm slap free. Flicked up by Cross. Christian Howard couldn't make something of it. Bradley does to Barlow. Tried to squeeze the pass through. Main tries to milk a high free. Gilby made Wallace work for it. Easton Wood went for the bounce pass. Liberatore dragged off it. And the umpire gives them a large amount of time before saying, I'll have it.
Well, the Western Bulldogs haven't used the breeze because they're chipping it around. They really needed to try and put Freo under pressure and kick long and find the space on the rebound here, but haven't really used it at all.
Last time these two teams met, round 24 last year, the Dogs won by 46 points. They smashed Fremantle. They've got a good record against Fremantle in recent times. Grover takes it to the line, so they would rate their chances of winning this one away from home.
Now, Jacko, you mentioned left of screen. You've got us confused here. Do you mean right of screen or not, or is it swirling that badly?
It is swirling, Jared. So at the minute it is right of screen, but if you're on that outer side where the ball is now, if you get the ball up in the air, it will go to left of screen. So it's quite tricky here on a windy day.
Tory Dixon jumped on.
Against Valentine. Yep, yours here. Yep, Tory Dixon. Do my Payton. Do that, guys.
It's been a story of short kicks, this one, Rue. I'm not sure whether both clubs have come in with the same tactic or whether it's the wind that is causing them to kick the ball short just to maintain possession.
It's probably because both sides have got a loose behind the play and they don't want to play into their hands, I think.
So Howard from Lake to Jakira just inside the line.
Garrick, right there. Stay out.
He elects to bomb it. Campbell comes hard, pushed out perhaps, no free. Ball to the back towards Grover, slapped it towards McPhee and the line, and gets himself a win. Did Campbell play for that free, Tom Campbell?
Well, I know that there's a lot of criticism of Liam Jones for pushing himself under the ball last week, both internally and externally at the Dogs, so he'd want to do better when his judgment worked than that.
Johnson toward the line, through for a behind. So 23 minutes gone, opening term. It's all locked away.
Kick.
First game has looked okay. Cameron Sutcliffe.
He's got good hands, good skills, really well balanced runner.
Fremantle took him with their final pick in the draft, pick 71. So it was a late lucky choice. Ballantyne to Pavlich, but it's way wide. Pav's good enough, and he might even be good enough to kick this.
The old training spot over in the corner. It's be a huge kick.
In particular, given that the Western Bulldogs have turned the inside forward 50 stat around, or the time inside forward 50, they've been dominant the last 10 minutes down there, 70 to 30%.
Jared, this will give you the indication. If he gets it up, it'll carry now with the breeze.
Kicked 517 career goals, probably kicked 60 odd from that pocket. Oh, he's a superstar, even though he's hit the post.
That's a great effort.
It's like a golfer who almost nailed a 25-foot putt. He's still not happy it leapt out.
So the pressure's on Gilby now. He's back in his old spot. He's had one error from the defensive position, which has created a goal. He's kicked another one out in the full, and that's what we expect to see from Lindsay Gilbey. One of the great kicks over the last 10 years in the game.
Liberatore. Picking.
I mean, as the crowd is just saying, umpire, that is not 15 metres.
I think they're listening to you, Jared.
I'm listening to them.
Cross.
They're the vocal ones.
Again, that was lucky to be 15.
This is high-risk football for not much gain. Or zero gain.
Markovic, back pocket. It's hard to know, given this breeze and how tricky it is, whether going in with a 1-point deficit is actually a win for the Dogs in this opening term. Heads wide, and it might be more than a 1-point deficit. Free kick McFarlane. They get a chance for a late inside 50 and a late score. Main up. Arm slap free. He'll have a shot.
Just going to say, Dwayne, I reckon it is a big win for the Dogs. I know they look like they're going to concede a shot at goal, and most likely a goal. But they have been so poor the last couple of weeks. If they can go in a quarter time on the scoreboard, close in or in front, which is going to be difficult now, then I think that gives them some real cause for renewed enthusiasm.
Chris Main.
Sometimes you just got to do it ugly, and they've achieved that.
24 goals, 3 this year. This is on the siren. He's kicked 14-1 from set shots. He is a dead eye, and that does give Fremantle a massive boost at quarter time after what's been an ultra tight opening term at Patersons Stadium.